Good morning, good morning, good morning, guys. It is John here, Mr. Forex Fire. It is approximately around about just after 8 on a Tuesday morning, the 17th of January, and we're just going to share the screen and head to the charts. So yesterday's overview, we got in on let's have a look at the GBP USD on the New York on the UK session. Couldn't get me words out there, and we took a trade. It was successful. We were looking not to go for the previous day high on that day, but that's where the potential was. But we were taking partials on the way up. Okay, so we eventually, the last partial would have been around about a 1 to 5, around about 2 or a 1 to 5. Price did actually go to around about a 1 to 7. We got in on a second trade here, okay, but again, this come back and stopped out eventually. But we took partials, and that we still in profit. That would have been like a 1 to 1.5. On the US session, I was going to record it, but I then seen it was a US holiday. I did set one up, okay. We got a US kill zone, a New York kill zone, where we took liquidity from these areas just before the entry of the kill zone. We came down, leaving behind a fair value gap, because, like I say, the plan goes, we get a liquidity grab. We got that just before the kill zone. We then look for displacement. Displacement come back down, taking out these higher lows, okay, the displacement, and then we look for a fair value gap. So they're the three main steps I'll look for before entering a trade, okay? So we got the displacement, fair value gap was here. This trade, it went for just under a 1 to 1. It was like a 1 to 0.72. But again, that there was no volume or no volatility in the market on the New York Open or for the US trade at all. So I set this trade up just to watch it, to see how it would behave. Again, it did come to just under 1%, but then it went the opposite way. So all's not lost. Overall, we started this just the other day off on Friday on a 10K account. We're 150 in profit. Again, I must stress, this will be the third day of officially sort of trying these methods, trying to put a plan together. So then I can either go through a challenge or apply to my live funded account. Again, I must stress, I'm not perfect at this. I'm just identifying structure and getting used to price action. That's what it's about first. And then trying to stick to the discipline of the 7 steps. And as long as I stick to the discipline of those 7 steps, mainly the first 3, I can possibly then start seeing not just my confidence, because I work on 3 things: confidence, consistency, and when you get those 2, the profitability will follow. Okay, so today we're still going to use around about 0.5% on an entry. Okay, we are at an area now where we could possibly risk a 1%, because we've got over that first profit of $100. Okay, so I want to get this to at least over a 200 barrier, or towards 300, and then I can up the risk, because every 1% I do believe will be about $100. Okay, so until we get above the 200 to 300 area, if we can keep the confidence and consistency, we'll stick with 0.5% at the moment. So for today, we're going to be going on the GBP USD, and we're going to be setting this up. We'll have a look at the daily. We'll see if we can work things down on this. Again, I'm just going to get rid of this, and we can bring that plan back up in a moment. Let's just get rid of all markings on the chart, and we can take a look at where we are on the daily. So again, as you can see on the daily, I've got this set as US time, okay, New York time. It's the way ICT has it, just so I can get used to where the timings are. It is officially 17 minutes past 8 in the UK. But as we can see on this daily, we've got lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, all the way down to where, like I say, all the way down to where we get it, and then we get a break of structure coming down and a retest and back up on a retail method. But that's not what we're here to trade. We can now see the bias is a bullish, because we've got higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. And what I want to do from here, guys, is I want to mark out previous day high and a previous day low. Do I actually have these marked on here? Previous day high. I should say that's a previous day low I'm looking at there. And on this one, we've got a previous day high. So that's where we are at the moment. If we look at where we are for attacking imbalance on a daily, there's an imbalance there, or a fair value gap. We've come up to mitigate into that nicely. We haven't really got any fair value gaps to the downside, but again, on the lower end, I'm just trying to mark one or two little things. We've got liquidity residing around about here. Okay, so we've got some target areas. Go down to the 1 hour. And again, we'll look for that midnight time with the vertical line. Just making sure I'm on the New York time. Yeah, so that's the midnight line. Go down to the 15-minute. And as you'll see, we've got the midnight open. Okay, this is 8:30 on here, but it's midnight UK. So this is going to take us to the 8:30 time in the UK. But midnight open in New York is that candle there. Okay, I'm just going to see if I've got midnight open on here. New York midnight. Might have to type that in to be fair, so we'll go to text. NY midnight mid-open price. Okay, so we've got the midnight mid-open price, and I'm just going to put this as a dashed line. So again, we mark up we've got today's high, and we already come to where the previous day low is. So we've got our markers out here. The day high. We just got some parameters to work alongside. Again, this shaded area here is that big imbalance on the daily. So we could, for a bullish idea, we could come back down in the kill zone towards the midnight open, take a liquidity sweep. Okay, we just put this onto here. We may take, from what I'm thinking at the moment, before we get fully into it, because we still got 40 minutes, I think we may get a sweep down into the midnight open. So we'll take a liquidity sweep here before then showing a time to possibly go higher to look where the previous day high is. It is absolutely bang on, spot on, 50% of that daily fair value gap. So I think this is what I think at the moment before we actually go into it. I'm going to predict that we may come down into here, then come up into here before the end of the session. Okay, and then I think going from New York, we may get the sweep of the previous daily high, and we may come back down to 50%. Okay, look where the 50% is. The 50% is of today's high. Okay, so previous daily low, previous daily high. If I just change that to the template just to make it easier for you guys, put on a firebox. Okay, you're going to see here previous daily high, previous daily low. Look at that, 50%. It's bang on where today's high is. So it's stalling here. So at the moment, like I say, what I'm thinking about is we're coming up. We might get a little bit of a sweep there, come down to sweep here, retest. Fair value gap between where we get the liquidity and displacement, and then we may shoot off to the target to the high side. Okay, like I say, that there has not yet. I want to just delete that off. So again, we've shot up. We might get a little liquidity grab here, come down, liquidity grab here, retest, bounce up. Okay, and as we get the liquidity grab and displacement, we might get a push back here and then a shoot up to the high side. That's what I'm hoping for, with the option of, like I say, after we get the displacement, we should get a fair value gap in and around where the midnight open is. That's what I'm looking at. That's my sort of bias pre-London Open. We'll see what happens with that. Again, these kill zone boxes, the yellow is the UK, the green will be the New York. Okay, so that's the sort of stuff I'm looking for at the moment. Again, looking down on the lower side, we've got a lot of support on the bottom end. We might find that it might fall down towards this sort of stuff after the session going into New York though. So what I'll do is I'll pause the video. You've seen how I've got everything set up there, guys. We've got the daily fair value gap right here. We've got the previous daily high, and then structure wise, you can see there, that's the previous daily high. And then from there, you've got today's high at the moment is bang on 50% of the previous daily low, the previous daily high. Like I say, we go from that previous daily low to the previous daily high. Today's high, where it's touched and sort of rejecting from, is 50% of that. So there's a good reason why it's rejecting of that. We've got the midnight open of price. So this is New York session. Midnight open. The open on the candle is on the buy, is on the bottom. So this is equates to this here. But if we go on the fibs, do the previous daily low up to today's high, the medium line is just above where we are here. So again, we might see some sort of rejection coming down on here. So what I'll do is I'll mark a little bit here. I'm just going to mark that there. When I get rid of that, so we're getting rid of a lot of the lipstick. I'm going to come down to the 5 minute. And then I'm going to come down to the 1 minute. So the preference on this today, guys, like I say, this is our sort of arena that we're going to be working within today. We've got certain areas to work on where we get sweeps and things like that. From there, we are only risking 0.5% on the entry. Oh, where is my trading plan? We are only risking 0.5% on an entry. Okay, so again, from there, what I want to be looking at is trying to get this profit area just above 200 to 300. Hopefully, if we get that today, if I go into the New York session and we've got that, we might start risking 1% a trade. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video. We'll be back in a short while. Hopefully, you've taken a little bit of notes on how I've set that up today, looking for the fair value gaps, and on the daily, drilling it down to the 1 hour, marking up from the 1 hour, the midnight open of New York. getting our medium line, getting the New York midnight open, getting today's high and today's low. Again, you can see here, we've just had a sweep here, to be fair. We've had a sweep of price there. And again, look at this. Let's have a look at this. We've had a sweep of the price. So as we've had the sweep and then the displacement, it's left behind around about there a fair value gap. And it didn't quite come in. That's unlucky, that, because it would have been a fantastic trade. It didn't quite come to touch into that. So again, this is why we have the trading plan. This is why we have this. It sort of breaks it down for three main areas. Like I say, three main areas I look towards. I'll look for a liquidity grab. There was a one here. We look for the displacement. This has shot up and it's took away the previous sort of highs. So that's your displacement as it breaks through that. And then you look for the fair value gap. Okay. And the fair value gap is right there. It was basically from that wick down there. It was basically 1 pip away from from touching that, you know. So that was a bit unlucky. So if it was a long, okay, let's see if it touched in here, that would have been where your stop loss is. And if you take that to the previous, or where today's high is at least, that trade there could have been near just under 6.5%. We don't get disheartened with that. We just trust the plan that we've set up with this, to be fair. You're either going to get the entry or you're not at the end of the day. So I'll pause the video. We'll be back in a short while. Hopefully you've taken a little bit from that. If you need to know anything more, and I can explain it, or if you want to get on a one-to-one and learn a bit more about this, just give me a shout, drop comments below in the YouTube channel. And if we can and we can arrange a time, I'll certainly get on a one-on-one with you. So just bear with me. I'm going to pause the video and I'll be back in a short while. All right, guys, so I'm trying to sort of up the game a little, you know. Just bear with me. The screen might go a bit funny. There we go. Right, so there we go. Right, so I've went on to the GBP USD, as you can see. Okay, we've got all our levels here. This was yesterday's New York area on the kill zone, the start of the kill zone open. Okay, so again, this could be a target area if we do get the I am expecting price to come down during this session, but I've also marked up the Euro USD as well. Again, when I'm looking at this, I'm only looking to get one entry on today's session, I think, to be fair. So we can see here we've had a sweep up, okay, and then from there, if I just get this onto here, we'll get the trading plan on. So we've had a liquidity grab up on here, and then we'll look for the displacement coming down, taking out the lows. So again, we're looking for the push down. From there, if we get anything which is going to push down below here, I mean, obviously there's a sweep here as well. There's been a sweep on the midnight open, to be fair. So I might just get rid of that side. We might find we'll get taken this bit out, okay? If we get a sweep above that, we'll be looking for a fair value gap for possibly an entry here. But again, we've got the New York open high. I would need to sort of try and target different areas. So from there, we've got an imbalance or a fair value gap of here on the Euro USD. So we could mark 50% out of that imbalance. Okay, this could be a potential target. Let me just get rid of that. because we've had a sweep on the New York Open. You know, we're coming down. We'll go back down to 1 minute on this. Again, I'm looking for this previous to be taken out, leaving behind a fair value gap. So we've already got a little bit of a fair value gap here. Okay. But we've had no displacement to the high side. We need to see the swing point taken from here. We go back to the Great British Pound USD. There's nothing really showing much on here neither. I'm just going to mark a couple of things out. We have had a liquidity take on here, but nothing to the high side. Just go back to the Euro USD. Right, so what we could do, we could mark along, have this here, have this under here. We could try and push maybe a 1, maybe a 1 to 1 to 3.5. I'm going to risk it on this one because I haven't really been trading the Euro USD on this, to be fair. So we look on here. I'm going to risk 0.25% on this bit. So I'll go here. So we've got a 20 pip and a 5 pip. We do here. We'll go for a buy. 20 pip. That's a 5 pip. $20 pip. I'm going to take that to 8 pip, to be fair. I only want to risk 0.25. Again, if we lose out, we've only lost what, 25 quid to gain 60. So I've got a trade set up there. I'm going to come a little bit to the lower side. Yes, I've got the stop loss here, but I'm going to try and edge me betting to where we're going to be getting a 1 to just over 2%. We'll protect the low from here and here and here. So hopefully we're going to hold this a little bit. Again, I think this might be a little bit adventurous. I think today might be a better option, to be fair. But again, we would be looking for liquidity there. We do get a swoop down before we break here. We get an entry. We could have a take partial on this bit, but I do think this is just going to take off. The GBP, USD, again, we're going to get the initial sweep on today's high. Okay. So again, this is going to be all new, trying to watch over 2 pairs, to be fair. So we just need to be active and mindful of what's going on. We've already got a trade set on this one, so I suppose we can leave that be as it is. And just keep an eye actively on this one. Again, we've had a sweep of liquidity here. Could work both ways, to be fair. We've got a price here. I would like to see a break above here before it comes to mitigate into this, to be fair. Because that's obviously today's high. It's double tapping up into there. See how this Euro's doing. We've had a little bit of a take up on the higher side, so we just need to take that up a little bit further. So again, we're not risking huge amounts. We're protecting what we've got profit-wise on here. It's not until we the overall thought on this is not until we get into 200 to 300 we'll risk maybe a 1% on a one trade. But at the moment, we're still risking quarters, you know. Just waiting for this to come down. It looks like it's going to drop down now. Again, when you're looking at the fair value gaps, we've got another one which is just there, you know. So when we look at this, we're coming into touch into this one at the moment. Hopefully it's going to mitigate through and touch into here for an entry here, but it's already mitigating into a fair value gap here. And again, liquidity grab. We speak about liquidity grabs, okay, on step one. there's liquidity here, okay, and here and here. It's broke through that, so it's took the liquidity grab, so it's made the displacement. Then you look for the fair value gap. This is what the fair value gap is. It's basically the wick of this candle to where the wick of that candle is. That's the ring fence. And it's like playing down into this. It's coming around about 50% into play. And like I say, I hope by doing this, it's helping you guys identify. It's bounced off around 50%. So it's coming to mitigate so much into it. It may be that's what it's done for this pullback. It might go back to attack this sort of stuff. Again, I don't want to get too sort of pulled up on one area, to be fair. We've taken that liquidity there. Okay, we'll go back on the GBP USD. Again, we haven't come in to fulfill any of this imbalance at the moment. I still believe that this is going to want to come lower. I do believe that. I genuinely do believe that. So I am expecting some sort of sweep here. Again, if we don't get it, but we get a sort of take on that, that would be the area I've got my eye on at the moment. That's what I want to watch at the moment. We get a sweep and a take of this. In essence, if we get a take of a liquidity grab here, okay, and then we come up and then we come down, I'll be looking for some form of, like I say, a fair value gap here as we've taken liquidity displacement, come back for the fair value gap to then trade down, you know. So there's method in the madness of what I'm looking at. Again, we're coming into the fair value gap here. This might push through. We keep an eye on this level here. Go back to Euro USD. It looks like we may be getting a touch. We've come massively through into that. So we've played through that fair value gap. We just want another. Again, this is what happened just the other day, you know. We were around about a pip. Half a pip from entry on that. Will it give us it? We'll have to wait and see. But if we do get an entry, that we then going to be targeting up here for a take partial, you know. And when we take a partial, to get a partial back, what you're doing is you're just going to half this down. So 31,720. I will just take around about 16 off that. To do that, you go to your buy position, and what you do is you change the units to 16. You've took half of this area off in the opposite direction. Look at that. It's just wicked in. It hasn't activated, but it's wicked into it. Again, beautiful. 50% it's taken off from there. Sit on our hands with this, because we might get a little bit of a liquidity grab taken on the today's high, and then we might get the further push down. We're just going to be mindfully keeping an eye on this area. And that sounds as if the Euro USD has come into effect. Again, I'm not, like I say, I'm not overly confident on this particular trade. But we'll see if we get some sort of takeoff from it. It's not about being spot on and correct every time. It's just about understanding the method, the flow of price. And as long as we understand that price action and we follow the price action, and when we get into the steps of the plan, we follow what price is doing, it's either going to respect it or it's not. A little bit of drawdown on that at the moment. Again, we're getting rejections from just under the 50% of this area. If I was to go from here to here, you can see the 50% line, just how much it's respecting from that fair value gap area. Like I say, ideally on this one, I do want to see this and then that. I do want to see that, because then it's going to leave a fair value gap somewhere in here. And if it does leave that fair value gap in here, after the liquidity grab, after the displacement, I will look for the fair value gap within this leg here. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm just going to keep that active on there at the moment. There's the push on what we're seeing on the Euro USD. Again, what I want to do, set an alarm on that, so we keep an eye on that. Alerting him. Take the partial. It's coming back on ourselves. So again, I don't want to move price too early, to be fair. Excuse me. Again, just drop your name in the comments below. Are you enjoying what I'm doing on here? Again, this is foreign. This is foreign to me, just like learning a new language. But your main aspect on anything, learning anything new, you've got to have a trading plan in place, and you've got to follow that, because discipline is key when you're learning to trade. Without a plan, without a strategy, without a method, you're just going to be throwing mud against the wall and hopefully it'll stick. You need to have a disciplined plan in play so you can follow that plan and you can collect your data on what works, what doesn't work. Because again, you don't lose, you don't fail in trading. Like I say from yesterday's video, fail just means first attempt in learning, you know. So you just need to have these things in place and follow it to the letter. There's a reason why you have a structured plan. You follow it, you test it, you collect your data, you see what works, what doesn't work, and then from there you can fine tune, you know. That's the most important thing. We're coming down into back down into the New York Open, because again, we had the New York Open here. It looks like it might come down to displace into this a bit further, to be fair. We might have entered this a little bit too early. Might get a little bit of a grab on here, to be honest. But we'll, like I say, it is what it is. We learn from what happens. What I'll do is, guys, I'll pause the video for now and we'll be back in a short while. So we're back, guys. There's the sweep of the midnight New York Open. Again, it was a good idea to bring the stop loss down to here. We may still get stopped out, in all honesty. But again, what could be a good, we've got liquidity residing here now. We get a push up, we might get that liquidity grab, what we've got here. We, from the displacement on the push back up, if its structure holds, that is, we could leave another fair value gap behind. So again, it looks as if, in fact, we have getting in on this one far too early, to be fair. So we might be chasing a lost cause with that at the moment. Again, we're just being mindful of what we're seeing here. Double top. Okay, we've got double top on here. We haven't quite getting what I thought might have been a push and then a downside. We may get a break of structure coming down to here. And then from there, I might have a look for a fair value gap on this. I would have liked to have seen a bit more of a liquidity grab. I mean, this is on a today's high. The previous day high is all the way at the top of here, to be fair. So we've had a failed attempt at the double top area. Looks like we're going to break through this now. Again, got the eye on here. Here comes a breakthrough by the look of it. It's respecting that liquidity on the bottom. 13 seconds. There's the breakthrough. Just get rid of the eye. We've had the liquidity grab. I just want to get rid of that. We could be starting to get the fair value gap forming here. There's 1 second. I'm going to sit on this one a little bit longer. We do have a fair value gap at the moment residing around about there. We've had that liquidity grab. We can get rid of that. We'll just get rid of some of the noise. We'll get rid of that bit because, again, we've seen we've broken, retest and played on that. Go back to the Euro USD. This one's still holding structure slightly, albeit it's starting to sort of consolidate a bit. 17 seconds. Here we go, the last push to try and fill some of this gap. Let's take a look. We can see a right short position. Short position from there. 13 pips, and we could target You could target where the midnight open is, to be fair. Come into here. I haven't placed this trade yet. I just want to see how we get a reaction from here. So I'm not confident enough to place this trade just yet. So I'm just watching this at this second, simply because I've still got a position open here, to be honest. 30 seconds. I would like to see a push. I would like to see a push come out of the drawdown area to come and attack some of this, you know. But just do see, we've got liquidity residing here as well. Go back with GBP USD. There comes the surge on that. Is it going to fulfill this area? Yep, touch through that. Possibly would like to see a second drive on this, to be fair. I would like to see another drive taken out on here. We can have, like I say, there's liquidity here, so I just want to see a price watch on this area. Like I said, I'm not confident enough for this to be able to hold, to be honest. I still think we're going to target up to here, to be honest. But again, we'll see what happens. And doing this live yourself as well, marking the charts as you're going and having particular icons and things like that when you're marking your own charts up is going to help you identify what you're looking at. Again, this is my third day of trying to trade this stylist method with my trading plan on this. So yesterday was a US holiday. We got a little bit of profit, but I feel confident enough to try and put a couple of pairs together to watch. I mean, we'll see how that plays out today. Again, this looks like it's going to push through. Like I said, we did initially have this, you know. We did have that. We did have that play because I did want to see the today's high taken out. We might still get that, to be fair. And there's some good pressure here on the buy side. So this was a good idea not to take that trade, you know. Now we're starting to get a little bit of a push on this here as well. We did do what I thought it was going to do. We did come down to sort of attack the New York open on here. Now we're getting the buying pressure on here as well. The Euro USD and the GBP USD tends to move a little bit this year, because you see this here. Okay, and then we go on the GBP USD. You see, it tends to move the same. This is why I didn't want to get in on this particular trade. Again, starting to drop a little. Come on, we just need to get that little bit more of a push. What I'm going to do, I'm going to stick that there, because that would have been the area where it would have sort of knocked that off. So we're stuck between a range. I'm going to start pushing back into profit a bit. Come on. Yeah, so that would have been the wrong trade to take, which I'm glad I didn't get in on that. Use my intuition on that, and it was the right thing to do. Again, I'm going to take this bit of noise off. This could be a possible target area. I want to see a sweep of the today's high taken on that, to be fair. And what I could do, I could set an alarm on that, and just put the word sweep. So we've got an alarm on that. We've got the Euro USD. It's starting to tank now. I'll pause the video. We'll be back in a short while. This has come back to test the New York Open. Be back in a short while, guys. Right, so guys, on the euro, on the GBP USD, we have actually come up. We're going to start to attack the today's high. Had that alarm go off. It's respecting it, to be fair. So it's a treble tap, which is annoying. I want to see it break. From here on the euro USD, we're just messing around on that area still. I want to see this to start to push. I think I will take a partial when it comes to this area here, if it ever does get there, and we'll move an SL to break even on that second step. I'm going to push me take partials and SL movement a little bit more, because I've been getting stopped out a little bit earlier than previous, than what I want to be honest. So if this trade can hold, we'll take a partial on this area here, and then we'll wait for further liquidity on the higher side before I move anything else. That's if we don't get stopped out. Back on the GBP USD, again, it looks like we might start taking out these liquidity areas on today's high from midnight open. But again, I think this might go higher, to be fair. And we've got to be mindful of the time. We're still only 7 minutes into the kill zone. We're still only 7 minutes into the kill zone, So again, from the high up to here, we're looking at around about 60 pips from that. And if I do from here down to the previous day low, we're looking 60 pips. So we're more or less 50%, So we just got to be mindful of what we're doing, what we're looking at. A lot of buying pressure there at the moment, just because these are 1 minute candles, So again, like I say, we were looking at that sort of pushback, and it looks like we're going to get the break, and it's going to want to do that at the moment. We're just going to here. We need to set the alarm, take a partial if we ever get to that area. And we need to rewrite that. We'll just go SL to BE on that alarm. Take partial. All right. So guys, we'll pause the video. I'll be back in a very short while if the alarm goes off. There we have it, guys. We got stopped out on the euro USD. So annoying. Very annoying. Let's just move this over. Ball's not lost, to be fair. Let me get rid of some of these markings. We'll start from afresh. Yeah, and we've had the midnight. We've had the sweep of the midnight coming down. I want to see what happens on the closer here. It's going to have that pulled out to there. So it hasn't been detrimental on that trade, to be honest, okay? Because when we go back and we look, we started 150 today. So this is where the risk management comes into play, to be fair. We've only taken a 25 hit. It's still, like I say, it's paper trading, but we started with 10K. And I'm treating this as if it was a proper account, and I'm using proper risk management, to be honest. So again, if we have a losing day, we have a losing day. It's to be expected at times. It's just how you control your emotions and your risk management towards that, And again, we're still only 12 minutes into the kill zone. We will be working towards at least another hour's worth of trading on this at the moment. Maybe I've bitten off a little bit more than what I can chew, trying to trade two areas. with regards to setting up prices. But like I say, you get nowhere unless you push yourself out of your zone. Kind of price we've got here, just over a 1-to-1. That's the New York open low. Previous day lows are 1-to-2. Again, we'll try for this 1 to 10 pips. Sell. So we'll go with 10 pips with a 20 pip. And I'm going to risk a 2.5. Another 25. Risk another 25 quid. So we've got 10 bips and we've got the fair value gap score. We've come through the sweep of the London, the New York Open. Okay, we've got the liquidity grab through the London. We've left behind. This is the displacement. We've got obviously fair value gap, break high and low. So I'm just going to set that with a 0.25 risk. If it loses, it brings our total profit down to 100. So in essence, I've still got a 1% profit that we can play with. Okay. If we gain this and we do get this move come to us to the previous daily low, we bag 50 quid. So we would be technically 25 quid into profit for the day, that is. Again, we've got the GBP USD. It's ranging. It's just ranging at the moment. We've taken out the previous daily high, and not the previous daily high. We've taken out today's high. Okay, this was today's high, double topped. From there, we do have an imbalance there, a fair value gap. I might be a little bit too late at getting in on this, to be fair. We mark this around about here. 8 pips. And if we target the midnight, that's a 1-to-3. Right. So it's 10 pips and 30 pips. Sell. 10 pips to 30 pips. And again, I just want to risk a 1.5 on this. I'm just, as I say, I'm just sort of taking down my risks, if that makes sense. As I've got 2 trades open, I just want to try and keep things as it is with regards to risk management. And we'll see what this becomes. This one hasn't quite activated just yet. And we could have a take partial come that area. So again, just going to get rid of that eye. Looks like we've entered again. So we want an alarm here. Take partial. Okay, and the Euro USD. I do believe, like I say, I'm not feeling it today, to be honest. This might be the day when I record losses, to be fair, but we'll soon find out. Let's keep that open. What I'll do is, guys, I'm gonna pause the video. We'll be back in a second. We'll see if we actually get any movement on this or if we actually lose money. I'll be back in a second. Right, guys, so we have the take partial area hit on the GBP USD. We're going to buy back some positions. We're going to take 7,500. We're going to buy back some of that. This will raise up. So it's only a few quid, but still, we have taken partials on that. From there, I'm going to risk by keeping this open a little bit more, to be fair. I might reduce the risk, so I'll take that. Should I risk this to... Let's have a look. The Euro USD, again, that's come down into some profits, but it hasn't come down to test this area. Again, I might shave off some profits there from that liquidity area there, and we can get it. Again, at this stage, it's just about me trying to going in on my risk management a bit more and the pain threshold on what I can endure, you know. And again, we're only using pennies and pounds at the moment. The next area I would say would be on this here. Let's have a look. This area here, we'll see when we set an alarm. SL to BE. Excuse me, we might try and shave a little bit more off the profits, to be fair on this. Take another like pound or two off that. Again, we need to try and claw back some of what we lost at the moment. If price comes down at this time and hits the take profit, then we'll be back to in fact, we'll be just below from break even and losses and wins today. Albeit we need to see what happens with the Euro USD. Okay, so we've taken partials on the GBP USD. We'll be back in a short while. My overall thoughts at the moment, I still think we're going to take some sort of a loss today, but hopefully we can sort of stem that flow of loss. Okay, be back in a short while. Right, guys, so I'm going to bottle this a bit. I'm going to move this to just above the break-even area, or I should say just above the open and close of this other candle. So I'm in on a risk-free trade on this at the moment. I've clawed a little bit back from what we've lost today, and I'm just going to let this ride out and see if we can get it towards that midnight open, you know. From there, we've got the previous daily you'll go Euro USD alert. We've got to take partial on here. So again, we buy back positions. I want to take what 12,500. So now we've taken that there. What I'll do on this, I'm going to move this to just above the break even as well. So I'm going to be on risk-free trades at the minute. Again, the next partial I would have set on this bit would be, I'll be happy at this level, to be fair. Again, we're going to do a take partial. I think today's lesson, in all honesty, is we're going to get stopped out on this by the look of it. It's all about risk management on today's, because we've had 2 trades open, you know. We'll say this, it's a couple of pips away from stopping us out. 3 pips, that's risky. that is a little bit risky, to be fair. Hopefully we'll continue with a drop. The GBP USD, if I was to close this one out, that would take us to 138. It'd be about £10 down would be. And then a £3 profit on that. I don't know whether just to close off and try and keep it at break even or not today. I'm just not feeling the trading session today, to be fair. We'll hold it to see what happens. I do believe this is just going to come and stop me out, to be honest. Again, we got the mitigation on this here, but it's going to come back up and touch us out, I do believe. GBP USD. So again, I can get rid of that area there. Pullback wise, something's been stopped out. So pullback wise, we're 50% of this swing here. So the Euro USD has actually come back to take us out just above the break even. So at the moment, we started 150 profit from the last couple of days. We're around about 18 quid down, to be fair. And this is going to come back and stop us. If we do get stopped on this, I'm going to call it a day, and we'll just call it a bit of a loss today. But again, we're learning. We're trying to learn the structure part, you know. It is what it is. And like I say, I don't hide behind numbers. I don't hide behind faking things out. It's a journey that I'm learning, a journey I'm enjoying, and a process that I'm putting out there. And hopefully by doing these daily vlogs and these daily videos, it's gonna give at least somebody a light bulb moment, if that makes sense, and get them to understand what they see and what's going on within the structure of the charts. Again, I think what I'll do, guys, I'll pause the video for now and I'll just keep these open as they are. And we're going to see what happens towards the end of the session. Okay. I won't come back on the video until it comes towards the end of the main session, just to see what the bias is at the end. Was it too much to move these SLs and take partials? Do we need to learn to sit on our hands a bit more? Again, if we haven't lost, we've learned a lesson. Well, it's first attempt in learning. That's all field stands for. We just need to learn to see if we've moved things too early again. And going on what we're seeing on the Euro USD, this is actually moving down. And again with the GBP USD. So I'll pause the video and we'll be back in a bit to see if actually this would have went on to do a target. And again, the same with this one. I think we've moved things too early again. Pause the video, we'll be back soon. Right, so guys, let's have a look at what's happening so far. The GBP USD, okay, we've came down to the area where I would have initially moved to on the break even. Still would have been in this trade. The trade itself is worth of 1 to 3.39. I still believe I've got a massive lesson in trying to be a bit more patient and sitting on my hands when it comes to moving the SLs and trusting what the bias in the analysis that I give, so again, this is still on for a really good trade, to be fair. The Euro USD, we got in here, we come down to here, take partial, and we moved to just above the break even. We moved this to here on the break even. It came back and tipped us out. Okay, it went on to actually go for the 2%. So again, yes, it's coming wicked out, but as you can see, this one would have been an absolute win today. So in hindsight, looking back on this, the bias was correct. We took a small loss this morning. Okay, we took that small loss up here. We re-entered based upon coming through the open, and we just moved the SL a little bit too early to break even. It came and took that out, but then the trade went on to smash down below, so yes, it can be annoying, but we go back on the data we collect and we can look and understand on what happened. Where did we fail? Was it the bias? Was it price action just wanted to go the opposite direction? We note where we go wrong and we understand. So this was no fault of my own. We had everything correct. It was just the lesson today was more on just having the patience. So again, I just want to mark this up. I just want to put on here for today's lesson, have more patience, and I just want to put those in big letters. So went on to win, but we got out here because I moved the SL. Okay, so it's just about having more patience. The GBP USD, it's still within its structure point. Again, we took out today's high when we went into the London kill zone. We took out the double tap here. So what I was looking for was a move down. Okay, we got the move down and the break from here, leaving behind the fair value gap. We come back into touch into it again. I moved the SL to just above the break even when we hit the first line area. Again, I did take a bit of a partial. So when you look to the left of this arrow, okay, this bit here, you can see it wicked back into that area. So it stopped us out. It's now moving back down. Overall, we started the day with around about $150 profit over the last 3 days. Bearing in mind, yesterday was a US holiday. So we took a bit of a hit. We took a $25 hit this morning, okay? We clawed back an extra $10 because we took partials. So today, we are in a loss from that $150. And what you're looking around about, what, $17? A $17 loss today. However, if only I'd held structure, I could have had a 2% gain. And again, this is still holding structure. So I'm going to stop the video there for today. Overall thoughts on this. Again, looking back on this chart, it's all about this bit here. Need to have more patience. Again, structure-wise, we could have had a 2%, which is a bit annoying because, like I say, you just got to learn to sit on your hands and trust why you have that bias in there. And again, if this one comes out, that's like just over 3%. So you're looking around about 5.5% if this one comes to fruition and it comes to the New York midnight open. So overall, it looks as if it's heading towards a 5% day on paper. However, we got out a little bit too early by moving the SLs, and we ended up sort of taking a little bit of a loss. However, we did have, like I say, we did have an overall loss of $25. Maybe that's where the mindset needs to come in, because that was playing on my mind. When looking at this overall, I was on $150 of profit for the last few days. I let that I let that $20 loss, $25 loss play on my mind a bit too much, because I started moving my parameters around. And yes, I got some partials and I moved the SLs, but again, we would probably be sitting in profit again today if it wasn't for the fact of moving this one. So I've let myself down by not being a bit more patient. We learn and we move on, guys. So I hope today has been a good lesson for you to follow through with this. Structure-wise, even if one bit of trading what I do when I'm moving structure around, even if you take one bit of snippet away from what I'm doing with this on the daily vlog, it just means it's a job done from my end, okay? You don't have to follow exactly what I'm doing on here, but structure-wise, if you're taking a little bit of a light bulb moment away and you're understanding this sort of stuff and you're starting to see what I'm charting up, what I'm marking up, and the approach with it, then it's a job successfully done, in my opinion, okay? Please drop your comments below. Let me know how you're getting on with your trading. If you're watching this and you're not in my Discord at the moment, again, we have a very active area, okay? You can come in here and join in with the Discord at any time. And it's all about trading together, learning together, trading together, and winning together, okay? Unfortunately, today I took a very small loss, but I'm not getting disheartened by it, because I'm still within the risk management and I'm still within my profits for this week on the 10K that I set myself up on the paper trade, okay? We'll see how we end the week. We are now on Tuesday. Tomorrow is Wednesday. In my normal trading plan, I will only ever trade Monday to Thursday. Yes, we started this, for Friday of last week, but I'm not going to be trading Fridays going forward. I'm just going to be doing mainly Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and even going into next week, I might even just only do these videos on a Tuesday, a Wednesday, and a Thursday, in fairness, and follow what the ICT does to the best of my knowledge and to the best of my ability, okay? I might jump on a little bit later today when the New York session opens, see if we can grab some of it on the USD JPY and see if we can try and get that profit back to the $150, okay, guys? So for me today, that's the end of the UK session for the 17th of January. Please drop your comments below. Comment, like, share on the post on this. And again, in the description below, you'll see some links where you can get a hold of me and become part of the trading journey. Because overall, this is not about paid memberships or anything else. It's about coming along, being trading buddies, being part of a trading community that was for the traders, built by traders, not by network marketing people. Okay, so that's what this is about. That way you're taking the stress out of your live trading. You can come along, tag along for fun. even if you're starting from the very beginning and you're just wanting to learn the basics and the fundamentals, we've got beginners areas and intermediate areas. We can learn you the structure, build upon the 3 things I pride myself on, which is when you first come into trading, you need to build on your confidence. Okay, we do that with the ability to learn the structure and draw the charts and share. Then you work on your consistency, drawing these charts up and things like that, like what I'm doing in front of you. I'm out of my comfort zone. I'm not a fully fledged sort of ICT concept trader, but I'm starting to get to grips with it. By doing this, I'm in the procedure of getting the confidence there. I'm building the confidence because I'm putting myself out of the comfort zone and doing these videos for you. Then will come the consistency. The profitability will follow, because it's just like when you're exercising, you are building the muscle, you're building the muscle memory to be able to see what's on the charts, identify point of interest, you're flexing that muscle continuously, you're doing repetitive reps on what you're doing daily, and then from there you're building that muscle, you're building the repetitiveness, and then the profitability will follow because you're constantly at the charts doing this. Okay, guys, so that's enough of me waffling on. Again, you can contact me at any time, whether it's through YouTube, Facebook. Links in the description. Share the love, comments, like, and share. And I'll see you on the New York session, guys. Okay, catch us all later.